All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Welcome. It is Thursday, June 11th. We live in hell. The Middle East has now erupted an all-out war because we're governed by dead-eyed sociopathic demons. I don't even know what to say at this point, bro. It is hard to keep up with the depravity that we're witnessing all around us. So in just a second, Trump goes directly at the jugular of Graham Platner, and I am going to respond to this because I nearly shit myself when I saw what this man had the nerve to say about Graham Platner. So we'll talk about that. We also have Joe Rogan completely turning on Bernie Sanders and smearing him to his audience of millions after he sat down with him 2 or 3 times and had perfectly cordial conversations. Then we'll get to MAGA politicians confronted over the Trump bombing of 168 schoolgirls, and they are an utter joke and a mess. And you even have a clip where a Republican is about to be asked something, and he literally sprints away and pretends to be on the phone. So we'll talk about that as well. Also, ICE caught in a sex trafficking plot, and Nick Fuentes explains in detail how Trump is completely fucked. So you don't want to miss any of it, man. You guys know the deal. Everybody subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. That helps the show out massively and costs you nothing at all. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. That link is below. You can support the show on Patreon. Remember, y'all is real independent media. So if you just give $2 a month or $5 a month, it goes a long way. I've never talked to an advertiser. I've never done an ad read. I never will. I'm very proud of that fact. So thank you for all of your support. And then also, of course, you can go sub to Corin's World and come hang out with us on Monday nights. We have a great time over there on Monday nights. We shoot the shit, and it's a lot more laid back than this. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Let me start here. So John Fetterman, the pro-genocide ogre with brain damage, he, for whatever reason, is obsessed with Graham Platner, and he cannot shut the fuck up about him, okay? Now, what's funny is, one of the knocks on Graham is that there's a lot of people, not a lot, but there's some people, especially in, the media sphere, who are concerned that Graham is going to become the next John Fetterman, right? Like MAGA-coded white dude who ran kind of like a Bernie-type campaign, right? Now, here's the thing, though. Graham recently went after John Fetterman and called him an asshole and said, like, dude, the reason people hate you is not because you wear a hoodie, it's because you, like, cuck yourself to MAGA and are pro-Israel. He said something to that effect, right? And so, if anything, there's now a feud brewing between the two of them. So I don't think you have to worry about Graham making a full-on heel turn, having a stroke, getting brain damage, and then becoming a right-winger, okay? So, but this gets weird. So Fetterman comes out and he says the following. Fetterman seems to believe that Platner sent photos of himself to women, calling him Captain Dick Pic. Quote, "Have we become the pro-dick party?" He adds, quote, "Did he send a dick pic?" He hasn't denied that, but he could clear it up and show it, Fetterman says. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the scene in Happy Gilmore where the guy says to him, "I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast." And Happy Gilmore goes, "You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?" This is Fetterman going, oh, he hasn't denied sending dick pics, but he could just show his dick pic to clear it up. Yeah, bro, you're really owning him by telling him you want to see his schlong. You got him. Hey, man, let me see your dick. Huh? What is this? What is going on? What are you doing? We call him Captain Dick Pic, and every day we beg him to show us pictures of his cock. What is wrong with you people? Okay, this gets worse. Trump decides to get in on the fun. And, man, to say that this is a miscalculation is the understatement of the millennia, okay? Here's Trump going after Graham Platner and basically just slowly but surely digging his own grave and opening him up for, like, vicious, brutal counterattacks. Listen to what he says here.
I watched that thug that's up in Maine. He's a thug. And they're trying to make excuses for him. I mean, he's worse than any human being that's ever run for office, probably. I don't know him. I don't want to say bad, but I just, look, I mean, nobody's ever had a record like that. And you'll have Schumer. He goes crazy over this or that, or Epstein. This guy. Why aren't they talking about him? He said, well, we don't know, but this guy's got a rap sheet. I've never seen anything like it. He's a thug. I know thugs. I had to deal with thugs. I built a lot of buildings. I dealt with the toughest people on earth.
let's stop and think for a second what exactly Graham Platner is accused of. He's accused of fully consensual sexting relationships, okay? And he's accused of being an unsettling and toxic boyfriend to some of his exes. 3 of them came out and said, actually, he's a lovely guy. He's a gentle giant. I love him. I still talk to him. 2 of them said, yeah, he was struggling and had PTSD. He was drinking and womanizing at the time he was with me. And one of them accused him of being unsettling and toxic, and that one is a Heritage Foundation Project 2025 Republican hack insider who founded a group, Women for Kavanaugh, who was accused of way worse. And here's Trump going, he's got the worst record of anybody I've ever seen. This is incredible. What a thug. What a disgusting person. Can you believe this? I've never seen anybody with such a toxic record. Hey, bitch, you're Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. I don't know if you're aware of that. We have literal audio of Jeffrey Epstein talking to Michael Wolff saying he was your best friend for a decade. That's not something that can be hidden, okay? You were on Epstein's plane 8 times. How many times was Graham Platner on his plane? Please answer that question for me. We know not only did you go to the island, you also went with Tiffany, one of your daughters, you sick fuck. We also know that the first time Trump and Melania had sex was allegedly on the Lolita Express, which was Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile plane. Epstein literally knew the inner workings of Trump's first White House, and Trump offered him a job to shut him up because of all the fucking dirt that Trump knew Epstein had on him. He knew where all the bodies were buried. He knew all the disgusting sexual things that Trump was into and that Trump did with underage girls. That's why Trump was offering Epstein a job in his first term. There's been detailed reporting on that, okay? We know that Trump and Epstein literally shared a girlfriend. He also passed off a 20-year-old girl to Trump in 1993. Trump wrote a creepy-ass love letter to Epstein on his birthday, which looked like he drew a prepubescent body, okay? What are we talking about here? You're going to go after Graham Platner? Hey, Trump, should people do themselves a favor and Google Katie Johnson? How about that? How about everybody watching this right now goes to YouTube and types in secular talk Katie Johnson, and you watch my breakdown of the 13-year-old who has a detailed allegation against Trump, claiming Trump raped him and somebody else who was raped her and somebody else who was 12 years old. Michael Wolff said there's a pic of Trump that Epstein had with a stain on Trump's pants and being surrounded by girls of an uncertain age, one of them bending over, pointing at Trump and laughing. In other words, the motherfucker was with underage girls and nutting in his pants, and there's a picture of it that Jeffrey Epstein had, and he showed Michael Wolff. That's what that means. Remember that picture at Mar-a-Lago of somebody buying a woman from Epstein with a giant check, and it called her a depreciated asset? Remember that? Do you remember the other disturbing things that we learned on the FBI intake forms? Do you guys recall any of this stuff? That there's a girl from Oklahoma by the name of Dusty, and she was allegedly raped by Trump, and she was found with her head blown off. Are you allowed to talk about the Trump Princess Riverboat Casino in Lake Michigan, where there's concerns that they did stuff with underage girls and then disposed of the bodies in Lake Michigan? Are we sure that you want to go down this road when there's a limo driver in Dallas who said Trump talked to Epstein on the phone about abusing girls? It is so amazing to me that we live in a time and place where self-awareness is so limited that the president of the United States doesn't understand. Hey, I can't go down this road, bro. I'm going to get draxed. I'm going to get bodied if I start saying, he's got the worst record of anybody ever. He's a thug. He's horrible. He's the worst. You're Donald J. Trump. You're a war criminal, pedophile, rapist, con man, fascist. I don't even know. I'm running out of negative terms. Fill in the blank with whatever one you want. Racist, fascist, bigot, fucking murderer. Like, every negative thing you can think of is what this man is, and he has the nerve to call out Graham Platner. Well, how about this? In 2011, Donald Trump spent hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with an Epstein victim. And we know this because there's an email at the time with Epstein saying to somebody else, Trump has been at the house for hours with one of the victims. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We know Jeffrey Epstein, all of his houses were bugged to the high heavens. That's a fact. So in other words, we know that there are tapes of Donald Trump with underage girls at Epstein's properties. We all know Epstein was tied to intelligence. He had ties to Mossad, Israeli intelligence. He had ties to Russian intelligence. He had ties to the CIA. So there is blackmail on the president, and the president is starting multiple wars when he claimed to be the no new wars guy. How do we know Netanyahu isn't holding over his head this blackmail? Hey, you finish this Iran war, or we released everything we have with you and KD Johnson, with you and the other Epstein victims you were with. How do we know? We don't know. He's compromised. We do know those tapes exist. The question is, who has them and what are they using them for? And this motherfucker has the nerve. He has the nerve to talk about Graham Platner. The worst he was accused of was being an unsettling boyfriend. The worst he was accused of was that. You have got to be kidding me. Listen, here's my rule. If you ever partook in a drone strike that murdered innocent civilians, if you ever greenlit an air raid bombing campaign that killed 168 little schoolgirls in Iran, if you ever attacked Iranian water infrastructure or steel factories or any sort of civilian stuff, you can shut the fuck up accusing anybody of anything ever again, because you actually are one of the most, if not the single worst person alive. There's not a serial killer on this planet who can do as much damage as Donald J. Trump has done. Do you understand that? There's not a single serial killer on this planet, or serial rapist for that matter, who can do as much damage as Trump has done. Why? Because he's done it all. He's done it all and then some. He has more money. He has more power. He's got a whole military at his disposal, and he's tied into the child sex trafficking cabal. I can't think of a crime he hasn't committed and gotten away with. Charged with 91. A man charged with 91 crimes, convicted on 34. A man who, him and his family can't operate a charity in New York because they stole from a children's cancer charity, is going to tell you Graham Platner is the worst guy he's ever seen, and he's a thug, and, how dare they run him? Give me a fucking break, man. Give me a fucking break.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So as I showed you guys the other day, the Republicans are absolutely positively crashing out at the fact that Spencer Pratt ran for LA mayor, another reality star, Trumpian type figure, and there was a bunch of media hype around him. He was dumb enough to say something like, I'm going to win this thing in the first round. Not only did he not win it in the first round, he didn't even get past the first round. He's not making it to the general election. It's going to be two Democrats against each other. So I showed you Megyn Kelly. I showed you Meghan McCain. I showed you apparently a bunch of Megans came out and said that the election was stolen. And he got all sorts of MAGA hacks saying, Republican hacks saying, oh, this election is definitely stolen. Well, I explained to you the other day how that's just factually wrong. What happened here was the same thing that happened in the 2020 election. It's called a red mirage scenario, because the votes that are counted later are mail-in votes, and mail-in votes skew overwhelmingly Democratic. So it's not a surprise that there were more and more Democratic votes that came in over time, right? Like, people predicted this exact thing would happen. I predicted it would happen based on articles I read in 2020. Right? But during the Joe Biden-Donald Trump race. Well, these idiots are not buying it. They don't care. Listen to what MAGA Mike Johnson, or Moses Mike Johnson, as Jennifer Welch calls him, is saying now. Here we go.
So does the tip of the iceberg.
Speaking of fraud, the president keeps saying that there's election fraud in the California mayor's race. What evidence is there to prove that?
You tell me, Manu. They are counting votes weeks after the election. We have entire nations with huge populations, like India, that can count their votes in 24
So you're
48
saying
hours.
it's rigged like the president?
I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm saying it stinks to high heaven, and everybody knows that.
I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying it's rigged. Are we really doing this again when the fucking war criminal pedophile con man that you guys all support nearly destroyed this country and obliterated this country because of January 6th, because of the fake elector scheme, and we're doing this again? So for the rest of my life and your life, y'all, we're never going to have a Republican just hold an L. Never. It's never just going to be, yeah, we lost that one. Guys, I need you to understand, this is a blue wave year in one of the bluest cities in America. And they're saying it's rigged because the Republican lost. I can't even wrap my mind around the stupidity and the inaccuracy of that. And if you're not willing to accept that in a blue wave year in one of the bluest cities of America, a Republican loss, you're not going to accept any loss ever again, ever.
Let's remove the appearance of impropriety. Let's have, what a concept. Let's have votes on an election the day of the election. That's what many states are able to do. I think California is playing around with this.
But what evidence is there to prove that there was rigged?
Some of these efforts are so diabolical and so far upstream it is impossible to prove. But I think everybody knows instinctively something is wrong here.
Oh my word. Oh no. Oh, instinctively, he knows something is wrong. The same guy who has an app to monitor his son's porn usage and how much he jacks off. Your son monitors how much you jack off, and you monitor how much your son jacks off, but I'm supposed to trust your instincts as to what makes sense and doesn't make sense. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. Oh my word. You guys are the dumbest people on earth. Why should I trust your instincts on anything? Your instinct is always going to tell you, you're right, Democrats stole it, Trump is right about everything. Like, again, they don't care about democracy. I genuinely and sincerely don't know how we continue to have a country with these people. Like, you can only have a country if people are willing to accept and abide by the rules, right? Abide by the Constitution. Agree that the institutions get the last say, that there are checks and balances. On every single front, they put their middle finger up and say, fuck it, we're doing what we want. Well, again, okay, then we should just split up. Like, we should just split up. Red states of America, blue states of America, come back in 100 years, see how we're doing. Guarantee the blue states will be damn near utopias, and you guys will be fucking miserable. But I don't know how we continue with this. Like, they're saying it's stolen because a Republican didn't win in fucking Los Angeles in a blue wave year.
But I think everybody knows instinctively something is wrong here. And that's a concern. We need people to believe in the integrity of our election system. It is critical to maintain a constitutional republic. We're going to keep working to pass the Save America Act because it requires, as you know, proof of citizenship.
The Save America Act is an attempt to just steal elections for Republicans from now until forever. The Save America Act is an attempt to ban all mail-in voting. They don't want to count all the votes and have one person, one vote. They want to stop counting when they're up. That's what they want to do. They're actually mad that LA is counting all the votes. The California is counting all the votes.
And a photo ID to vote. Those are also 90% plus issues in public opinion, and 70% of...
So they want to mandate a photo ID in order to vote, but they also, under this legislation, don't automatically send out the photo ID. So in other words, let's put a bunch of hurdles in your way and roadblocks in your way, and a bunch of people will not go through those hurdles and go through those roadblocks, and therefore you're disenfranchising them even though they have the right to vote. You're turning it from a right into a permit, which stems from the word permission, which is the opposite of a right. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to destroy one person, one vote.
Democrats understand that's necessary.
Aren't you all just saying that because you've lost the election because the Republicans did not win in this race? This is why you're hearing that?
I'm saying that every leader of all parties should demand election integrity. And if somebody is opposing that, you should look at their motives. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, a guy talking about election integrity when he supports Donald J. Trump, who tried to ruin election integrity, who every day goes out there and lies about elections, who currently has like 7 different irons on the fire with strategies to try to steal the 2026 midterms and the 2028 election. And by the way, shame on the media here, because only one person is asking questions and they're only semi-adversarial. What the fuck are we doing? Again, we can't fix this country. We can't coexist with these people unless they know their fucking role and shut their fucking mouth. What is this? What is this, bro? Again, one of the bluest cities in the country voted for a Democrat during a blue wave year, and they're going, it's rigged. What's going on here? Yeah, bro, I hate to tell you, the Spencer Pratt thing was all dumbass media hype. He never had a shot. He never had a snowball's chance in hell. And anybody with a functioning brain could have told you that. But no, instead, here we are. They're crying foul again. So you think they're going to hold the L in 2026? You think they're going to hold the L in 2028? Boy, you got another thing coming. So I would check out Democracy Docket and Mark Elias because we need to have a strategy in place for when they try to steal that bitch, because they 100%, without a doubt, are going to try to steal that bitch, and anybody who tells you otherwise is completely and utterly full of shit. And let's remember, they seized ballots in Georgia and Arizona as a dry run for trying to steal the election. Trump did an executive order trying to turn voting machines over to Doge. He tried to ban mail-in voting not only through the Save America Act, but also through an executive order. They're also stealing voter roll data and doing ballot purging all across the country. They're trying to force states to turn over all the voter roll data, and they're just purging it of people they don't want voting. Okay? There's already been threats to send ICE or the National Guard or to seize the ballots on Election Day. And we know he's blamed Iran, saying they interfered in the 2020 election. He said China interfered in the election. He said Maduro interfered in the election. He's trying to get Maduro right now to say, oh yeah, I stole it for Joe Biden. Literally, that's what he's working on. And then he's, oh, I'll go lighter on you, Maduro, and we'll let you go if you just say that you stole it for Biden, right? Like, this is what's going on right now. And they have the nerve to talk about election integrity. You motherfuckers are the ones who are destroying election integrity, and all of you know it. They're so vile. like I keep telling you guys, this modern iteration of the Republican Party is not a political party. It is a death cult. That's what it is. As Trump goes, they go. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about checks and balances. They don't care about rules. They don't care about laws. They don't care about consistency. They are a complete and utter joke of a party, and everybody with a functioning brain knows it. And that's why they keep going out there and humiliating themselves over and over and over, and they never readjust course. Because you can only do that when you only give a shit about the other people inside the cult, when nothing can permeate that bubble. That's where they're at.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Real secular talk fans will know that I was the one who hooked up Bernie Sanders and Joe Rogan back in the day when he went on his podcast when he was running for president. Little did I know that would actually cause a lot of controversy, and that was sort of like, in left-wing circles, that was at the time very controversial, right? Because, people went and dug up old things Rogan said and, used that to be like, do you even want, why would you even want this guy's endorsement? So anyway, but they had a good conversation, and I think Bernie genuinely converted a lot of Rogan voters at the time to be, to support him, right? And his worldview. And I believe Bernie's been on 2 or 3 times in total on Rogan's show. Now, the problem is Rogan over the years has gotten worse and worse. He's become more and more and more right-wing. Now, they've debated like maybe 1 or 2 issues over the years, but by and large, when he's sitting across from Bernie, it's just like he just sits there and nods in agreement and takes whatever points Bernie makes and he adds to it. But here's the thing. Joe Rogan is two-faced. So, when I used to go on the show, I've been on 5 or 6 times, and I would give one worldview. He'd nod along in agreement. Then, within the next 3 months, he'd have on fucking Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder, and he'd nod along in agreement with their right-wing horseshit, which is the exact opposite of everything I said. So he's always been a little bit two-faced. But this has got to take the cake for some of the most two-faced shit I've ever seen. So here Joe is, completely turning on Bernie Sanders and smearing him. And then I'm going to show you this. Then I'll compare it to the stuff he used to say. Here we go. Let's watch.
Listen, Gavin Newsom in any other world could easily be a Republican. Okay, if we were living in the 1990s, he might have been. This is nonsense. His perspectives on things is about personal gain. It's about his campaign and his image, and that's why when he addresses any of the issues with California, he always goes into this pre-planned speech about we're the biggest tech sector, we're number 4 in the world, and the world economy starts moving his hands around. He's got a little fucking voodoo dance he does. Because it's not really about addressing the situation. It's about framing it in a very positive way so that he looks good, so that he moves forward. And that's what he wants to do.
And you're starting to see him come closer to center now, being opposed to the billionaire tax and other things like that.
Look at the framing. That it's closer to the center to oppose the billionaire tax, even though 70, 80, maybe even 90% support the billionaire tax. No, the center position is to be pro-billionaire tax. The reason Newsom did it is because he sold out to corporate interests and billionaires in the same way that Joe Rogan sold out to billionaires, because Joe Rogan is now buddy-buddy with the Epstein class. He hangs out with Peter Thiel. He hangs out with Elon Musk. He texts with J.D. Vance. He texts with Donald Trump. He loves Mark Andreessen, okay? Spare me with this stuff.
They're fucking leaving.
They're leaving, but a lot of the,
that's a total lie. Zoran has raised taxes on billionaires. None of them left. He raised taxes on the rich. None of them left. In fact, the opposite, more coming in. It's a fucking lie sold to you by rich people so that you don't tax rich people. Okay? Period. That's it.
One running for governor on the left was okay with the billionaire tax, but since he's going to be eyeing for president, he needs to be a little more sane. And pretty much every independent report
that is going to hurt him massively. So he miscalculated.
Says, yes, it'll capture tens of billions quickly, but it'll lose hundreds of billions over the long term because...
Total lie, made up completely by rich people so you don't tax them.
The wealth that you tax on a yearly basis is just leaving.
It's not just that. It's a slippery slope. It might start with billionaires. It'll work its way down. It'll work its way down to thousandaires.
Yeah.
Joe, Donald J. Trump cut taxes on billionaires and raised them on thousandaires. That's what he did. The bottom 90% effectively got a tax increase. The top 1% got a tax decrease and subsidies on top of that, okay? And it was under Trump's first term that the billionaires started paying a lower effective tax rate compared to a working class American. That was in Trump's first term. And here he flips it, acting like the people who want to raise taxes on the billionaires also want to raise the taxes of people who have no fucking money. No, quite the opposite. Usually the people who want to raise taxes on the billionaires want to do that so that we can have more social services for those people at the bottom. Give them healthcare, give them education, give them higher wages, right? He's got it completely backwards. No, the beloved Republicans that you support so much are the ones who raise taxes on working people, you dipshit.
Taxes typically have.
They always do. As soon as and also they have the ability to change the goalpost once the bill gets passed. The bill gets passed, they don't have to have you vote on who gets taxed more. And we can just decide.
What are you talking about? No, whatever it says in the bill is what it is. And by the way, that's always been the case. You don't get to pass a bill that says one thing and then decide, I want to change who I'm raising taxes on and who I'm not raising taxes on. No, that's not how it works. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
And we can just decide. Like Bernie Sanders used to rail against millionaires. It always used to be millionaires. All these millionaires, that's the problem. They're not paying and now it's billionaires. Why? Because Bernie's a millionaire now.
You are completely and utterly full of shit, and you swallowed whole a dumbass right-wing talking point. No, Joe. The fact of the matter is, every single tax proposal Bernie has ever put out there also raises taxes on millionaires. He still supports raising taxes on millionaires. He just supports raising it on billionaires more. And the reason he adjusted his language to say millionaires and billionaires to just billionaires is because idiots like you go out there and go, well, maybe you shouldn't tax the millionaires more because I'm actually a millionaire and I don't want to pay more taxes. So he has to adjust to people like you and your low IQ interpretation of what he's saying, and that's why he leads with billionaires. But again, every proposal he's actually ever released raises taxes on both millionaires and billionaires, but it raises it more on billionaires. Jesus. You would think that since he sat across from Bernie 2 or 3 times, he wouldn't, like, accuse him of being, like, fucking Weasley, and he wouldn't accuse him of having some, like, secret motivation, which is nefarious. But here he is. He's doing exactly that. This is how far gone this guy is. The guy who fucking endorsed Donald Trump, hangs out with all the fucking Epstein-class billionaires, giggles on the phone with Donald Trump. Turns out he's smearing Bernie Sanders even though he knows him decently and has talked to him 2 or 3 times. What a sick fuck.
These millionaires, that's the problem. They're not paying and now it's billionaires. Why? Because Bernie's a millionaire now. It's adorable. It's adorable in its transparency. But, like, these fucking kids don't understand.
It's literally like get off my lawn type. Get off my lawn, man. These fucking kids don't understand. Really, Joe? They don't understand. I don't know, son. It kind of seems to me like maybe you're the one that's out of touch. You know, hanging out over there in Austin with Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen and fucking Mark Zuckerberg and every fucking billionaire who you bring on your show to coddle their nutsack and suck their dick from the back.
Giant number of kids today that come out of the university system that think that communism is the solution.
Oh my word. Is he actually arguing that universities are all trying to push communism? Are you seriously arguing universities are pushing communism? Oh my god.
Genuinely believe in it.
Yeah,
it's very scary. Because you're literally saying, first of all, how does that get enforced? How do you think it gets enforced? How does it work? Who tells the people that they have to?
Notice he's arguing against a total straw lefty here. A straw lefty young person who supports communism because the university told them to support communism, something that doesn't happen and doesn't fucking exist. Do universities lean left of center? Yes. Are they communists? Not by a fucking long shot.
To give up their money and their property. Yeah. The fucking government. And then who's holding the military and the property? The government. Oh, so the people with the guns? Oh, so you want a military dictatorship, essentially, to be able to control.
Says the guy who supported Donald J. Trump. And now you're fear-mongering about a left-wing military dictatorship when it's Donald J. Trump building fucking concentration camps and shoving innocent immigrants in there? He has his own Gestapo. He has his own paramilitary. They're doing abductions and human traffickings, and they're engaged in sex trafficking, and they're a bunch of fucking criminals, and they're assaulting senior citizens and shit like that. And you're worried about a left-wing military dictatorship when you helped usher in a right-wing dictatorship. Fuck you.
All the finances, who owns a home, who owns a farm, where the food comes from. You think that's a good idea?
It's never worked. I don't know why they're for it.
Ever. There's not even a mildly decent version of it out there that you can go, well, they're not as good.
So what you're going to see here is Joe Rogan is going so far and is being so annoying that even his fellow right-wing guest here has to try to pump the brakes and reel him in a little bit because he knows Rogan has done nothing but build a massive straw man and then beat it down with his little nub arms.
It's us, but it's not too bad.
I'll give them some credit. I'll give them a little bit of grace. Sure, I think they're a little retarded, but I'll give them some grace. A lot of times when you ask them, those people that come out of college, what communism is, they think it's like Scandinavia.
Okay.
No, the people who come out of college know what communism is, and they know that Scandinavia is social democracy, and they also know and are correct that social democracies are just objectively superior to our fucking capitalist hellscape that only allows people like Joe Rogan to win.
Socialism, that's how they define it. Not like very literal, and those aren't socialist countries anyway. All their programs are funded on capitalism.
All of their programs are funded on capitalism. Oh no, what are we doing? What are we doing? Those countries are more socialist and they work better and people self-report being happier and they have better education systems and better healthcare systems and more paid time off by law and higher wages. And like, this stuff is not debatable. But they're twisting themselves into pretzels to be, capitalism is good, right-wing stuff is good, right? Right-wing, we love right-wing stuff. It's not because Joe Rogan is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars and is friends with the entire Epstein class and Republican politicians, right?
It's taxed through the income that's earned on capitalism. So I'll give him that grace. But no, it is true that many people are viewing communism in general as more favorable.
Yeah.
And we know college is also very politically captured.
Now, by the way, I haven't seen any polls where people prefer communism, right? I have seen polls where people prefer socialism. You would think one would stop and ask, why is that? Well, I don't know. Maybe because this current system is hell on earth. Like, we literally live in hell. And income and wealth inequality is worse than the fucking Gilded Age. And people have debt out the wazoo. And people are dying because they don't have access to healthcare. And, like, you know, people have medical bills. People can't afford to go to college. They have student loan bills that they can't even fucking put through bankruptcy. You know, people, inflation through the roof, unemployment's through the roof, AI's taking people's jobs. You have, like, Elon Musk is about to become a fucking trillionaire at the same time that people who work 3 jobs can't make enough money to pay the bills. And they have the nerve to act like, oh, these crazy kids, they just simply don't understand how well this system works. Fuck you.
It's very politically captured.
That's the danger. The danger is children are getting a very distorted perception of what the reality of the world is.
Oh my God. No, you know where children are getting a distorted perception of the reality of the world, Joe? Your motherfucking podcast, bro. Your podcast. Your podcast. The Joe Rogan billionaire fluffer experience. The Joe Rogan coddle Trump's nuts experience. The Joe Rogan I'm totally a left-winger as I push every right-wing talking point experience. That's where they get a bad perception of the world. You would think that a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars who's been living in his fucking bunker in his podcast studio and his comedy club for the past decade, he would have a little bit of self-awareness to say, maybe I'm the one who's not in touch with your average person. But no.
Like, right out of school by people who don't live in the world. That's what's so fucked. Like, these people that are teaching, they've essentially gone from being a student to working in a university to being a professor. That's their entire life.
So teachers don't live in the real world, but multi-hundred millionaire Joe Rogan, who's a podcaster and a comedian, he lives in the real world. You know, when he's shooting the shit with Tony Hinchcliffe or Andrew Schultz or some billionaire AI asshole or some president, he's the one who's living in the real world, but not a teacher. A teacher wouldn't know what it's like to actually live in the real world.
They're telling you about the outside world. They're literally prisoners who are telling you about things that are going on in places where they never go and never visit.
Yeah, because, you know, Rogan himself, he's the one who understands. He's the working person whisperer, right? I don't even know where to fucking go with this. So here he is smearing Bernie Sanders, saying like, oh, you know, he used to say tax millionaires and billionaires, but now that he's a millionaire, he doesn't want to tax millionaires anymore, even though that's objectively not true. Every tax proposal he's ever put forward also increases taxes on millionaires. Maybe he just rhetorically stresses billionaires now because some people go, oh, I don't know if I want to raise taxes on millionaires, right? So it's literally just a rhetorical shift, and he makes it seem like it's this nefarious thing. Here's the way that Joe Rogan used to talk about Bernie Sanders and stuff like income and wealth inequality. Watch this.
The Joe Rogan experience.
The fucking mirror, man. Like, with long form podcasts, you find out who the fuck everybody is.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
Like Bernie Sanders. Like, I had Bernie Sanders on.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that, like, the fucking comments were insanely positive. They're like, I thought that guy was crazy. Like, I thought he was a nut. I would see him in these little interviews. I'm like, he just wants to give away everybody's money. Like, there's a picture with Bernie with my dog, and one of the fucking hilarious comments, like, he just wants to give your dog treats to other dogs. But it's like, that's the caricature. I mean, everyone has a caricature, right? The character of that guy is he just wants to take money from successful people and give it to lazy people. That's the worst view of Bernie Sanders, you know? And you get to see, instead of like this narrative that gets established through these little short sound bites on these panel talk shows, where there's 3 people talking over each other, or debates, or whatever it is, all those are ineffective. And what's interesting about it is all those are fueling podcasts. All those things that have for so long been thought of as mainstream venues for getting your ideas out. Now they highlight all the problems with those, and they highlight all the strengths of podcasts.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, it's very encouraging. And
are you a Bernie Sanders man?
He's a nice guy. You know, I like some of his ideas. I do not have a problem with giving up more of my money as a person who's made a lot of money if I know that it's going to benefit the greater good of mankind.
Sounds a lot different, huh? Forthrightly making an argument for raising taxes on millionaires and billionaires to mocking the idea of raising taxes on millionaires and billionaires. Bro is so fucking washed. Dave Rubin level, Ben Shapiro level washed. I'm sorry, man, but when you go from washed comedian to billionaire tech demon to fucking MAGA hack politician, and that's who you're cycling through on your show, man, give me a fucking break, dude. Who is this even for anymore? A shrinking audience of angry right-wing pricks? Because that's all you're fucking inviting in now. What a failure. What a flop. What a disgrace. Shame on Joe. Shame on Joe.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
What's up, everybody? Man, is this thing too shaky? What do you think? Is that too shaky? No, I think it's okay. Anyway, so I fucked up last night, man. I fucked up. There was the NBA Finals were on. I've been a Knicks fan my whole life, and we were down 28 points with 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and I fucking rage quit. I was like, I'm not fucking watching this anymore. Because it was like, the refs were rigging it. I don't know, it just felt like the NBA wanted to tie the series because they want 7 games because they make a shitload of money. Mm-hmm. So it felt like we had the Trump curse. It felt like the refs were rigging it.
Spurs couldn't miss.
The Spurs literally couldn't miss.
Knicks
Like, it was
were a
just,
mess.
they were raining threes.
Yeah.
Knicks defense looked fucking ass cheeks. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. I turned it off, watched a little bit of YouTube, and I fell asleep. And then it was like 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and I got my earplugs in that I sleep with, and I'm wearing my mask, and I hear you go, "They won!" and I wake up, and I'm like,
I woke up to text from Emma Vigeland. It was like, "Oh my God, we're crying," and I was like, "Wait, what happened?" And then Mac, also a big basketball fan, and I was like, "Wait a sec, there's no way they came back and won by 1 point."
But low-key, part of me feels like it's because I stopped watching. You know, like, I'm superstitious as fuck when it comes to sports.
When you always say they play better.
They play worse when I watch.
Yeah, when
I
you
watch,
turn
they
it
play
off,
worse.
they play better.
Always.
So.
But, although to be fair, recently, when they came back, they had that historic comeback against the Cavs. They were 22 points down with like 7 minutes left. I watched that whole shit.
We watched that, yeah.
So, like, it's not technically true, but for most of my life, if I'm watching it, they do worse. If I turn it off, they play better.
I mean, when I was watching the first part before we turned it off, I was thinking, you know, when it was, okay, they're down by 12, okay, now they're down by 17 or whatever. It was like, well, the Spurs are shooting a ridiculous, they're making like 70% of their shots, and that can't persist. That cannot persist an entire game. So they could come back, but when it got to 29 points, it was like, you're not going to come back from 30 points down. That doesn't happen, and it's not going to happen. And it's not coming together, and we're not seeing the signs of life that we need, and the refs are ridiculous. It just, I mean, it seemed impossible, but it was not quite impossible.
It was the biggest lead for a road team in the playoffs at the half in history, except for the 2020 bubble, which I don't know why they always do that. Like, the 2020 bubble doesn't count. It definitely counts. I never understood why people even debate that.
Yeah, I don't get that
Yeah,
either.
it's so weird. But anyway, and they came back. And so I missed the best comeback in NBA history because I rage quit. So there's a lesson in there somewhere, kids. Don't fucking rage quit. Because
Never lose hope.
Yeah.
Don't lose faith.
Yeah. But you know what? At least it wasn't the deciding game, you know?
Yeah. Yes, that is true, but that's, yeah. I mean, there's no way you're going to get a more exciting or more insane game than that one. I mean, that's literally like, in both of our lives, one of the craziest games that has ever occurred.
Yeah, when I was watching the Cavs come back when they were down 22, that felt like this is the pinnacle. You're down 22 with 7 minutes left and you win. Like, how's that possible?
Well, I kind of had that in my head too. Both like, oh, well, the Knicks can come back, but then I also had in my head, like, you don't get 2 of those.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's the greatest comeback of all time. You don't get 2 of those in one season.
But I've been telling everybody, though, that, like, at the end of the games, the Knicks are going to play better, specifically because the Spurs are much more fatigued because they've had multiple series go 7 games.
Yeah.
Whereas the Knicks swept the last 2 opponents. So, like, you got to think that actually adds up over time. The more that we play, the more tired they get. And the more, like, you know, into the flow of it we get. You know what I'm saying? And we've come out flat every game. The Spurs have lived by double digits in 3 of the 4 games, I think.
Crazy.
In the first quarter.
I think their youth also shows.
De'Aaron Fox, man, that with that not holding the ball.
Yeah.
Woo! Oh my word.
That's
and you're a veteran. They bring you on the team specifically to do the opposite of shit like that.
But Wemby really choked.
Missed two free throws.
2 free throws
Yep.
there. I mean, he missed 3 out of 4 free throws in the second half.
Also,
was missing everything.
Don't do the I'm in your head shit. Because like then
He tempted fate
right, the
with that
basketball
one.
god spit in your fucking eye.
He tempted fate with that one.
That's why, as much as I like to think like, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy and I could like, I'm not on some Kobe Bryant fucking Michael Jordan shit where like you say something and then like you do it and it works. Like you might not do that shit. Like you might fail, so just like shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you're leading, just be like, okay, I'm leading, but like I'm gonna be cool about that. I'm not gonna be like, I'm in your head. Oh yeah, now who's in whose head?
Yeah.
Right?
It really is crazy though the way everything went down. That De'Aaron Fox decision, and then OG's there to grab the ball, and then he down on the other side of the court. Jalen shoots the crazy 3 over Wemby, misses, but OG's there to put the tip in. I mean, just insane all the way around.
It's too perfect that like I was watching full games when fucking Eddie Curry was our best player and we were winning like 22 games a season, and now we're in the finals and we make a historic comeback and I rage quit when we were down 28 points in the second quarter. It's just too perfect. Like I'm there for everything except the best part. Then I missed the best part,
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna miss anything else. And by the way, I'll say that it's not over till it's over. And I'm not saying, I know that Jalen also said that shit yesterday too. He did the classic Kobe, like, what's there to be happy about? Job finished? I don't think so, right? Jalen just said that, and the stats are like, what is it, 200 and something in one? That if you're down 3-1? So it's like over 99%.
Only LeBron pulled that off.
Yes, but it's over 99%, right? But you know what else was over 99%? That the Spurs were supposed to win, being up 28. That was 99.5%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, if we could do that comeback, they could make a series comeback, so you got to be on mind your P's and Q's in this bitch.
Yeah.
We looked so bad in the first 2 quarters. I was like, what the fuck is this?
And the Spurs looked unstoppable.
Unstoppable. They were raining threes from fucking everywhere.
Everybody was making everything.
Yep.
And Wemby looked like a beast on both sides of the court. Like, his defense was also, I mean, they were just, like, completely stifling.
I know. Their defense was incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about what's going on with Trump right now. So I discussed yesterday, as soon as I wrapped up the show, boom, you had, bombs going off in Iran, in multiple different places, new string of attacks. Trump pointed that out. Hegseth was at Gitmo, I don't know fucking why, but saying like, hey, Cuba better watch the fuck out, and we said we were going to hit Iran, now we're hitting Iran again, doing the whole like Mr. Tough Guy bit. I bet he has the tiniest penis, that man.
You need a microscope.
Yeah, he must have a microscopic penis to be this fucking like, look at me, I'm a tough guy, bro, I'm gonna kill you, bro. Like, who does that other than men who are overcompensating? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
definitely has that energy.
So then it was so weird because like he does the bombing, then he says like, I'm wrapping up now. They told me to stop, I'm gonna wrap it up now. And then like he comes out later and he's like, we're gonna bomb again tomorrow. And it's like, well, I don't even understand what's happening. So say the thing, tell everybody what he just posted this morning, which if this is true, this is like devastating.
So he says the United States will be hitting Iran, whose Navy, Air Force, radar, anti-aircraft, and all other forms of defense, together with most of its offensive capability, are gone. Very hard tonight, all caps, that would be tonight. At some point in the not too distant future, we will be taking Karg Island and other oil infrastructure points and assume total control of their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela, which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And I would pair this too with the reporting I'm sure you saw maybe covered from Ken Klippenstein, that they've got
82nd Airborne
paratroopers in Israel that are prepared for some sort of an operation against Karg Island.
So if they do this, this is like such immense desperation, and it's virtually guaranteed to fail. Because like, either the Iranians can repel the attack and a bunch of Americans die.
Yeah.
Or the Americans take the island, but then they blow up the island anyway.
Yeah.
Or I don't see a scenario where we just like take it and it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not gonna happen. This is like a fucking 14-year-old boy playing Call of Duty thinking like, I'm gonna do this daring maneuver, and you just get murked instantly.
If that was gonna happen, we would have already done it.
Of course.
We interviewed Professor Morandi on Breaking Points today and read him that, because it was all breaking right as we had him on. And he was like, we want them to... First of all, he laughed, first of all. It was his first reaction.
Right.
And then he said, we want them to come. We want them to be here.
Right.
We want this to happen, please.
So, is he just so desperate, knowing that the Strait of Hormuz is shut, knowing that we're blowing through the strategic reserve, knowing that oil is going to be at least $5 a gallon in the very near future? Is this just a panicking last-ditch effort to try to, like... He keeps saying, we're forcing them to the table, basically. Like, they're going to sign the deal because they'll have no other choice. And it's like, no, bitch, you don't understand. They have all the cards.
Yeah, I think he's desperate. There was a report, so Seymour Hersh claimed to have a source who said that Trump had contemplated using low-yield nuclear weapons against Iran. I put a lot of stock in that because it seems like exactly the sort of thing that he would do, or contemplate at least, to get himself out of the complete and total bind that he's in right now. And so there was one report that they are actually close to some deal mediated by Qatar, and this is like chest-thumping bluster to make it appear to the American public that he scared Iran into making some sort of deal. But, even if you did have something approaching a deal, which I'm skeptical of to begin with, you are not making it more likely for that to occur.
Absolutely not.
By threats and bombing, etc. So, I think it's very perilous, and I think he's probably freaked out because he just had a bunch of oil executives come in and talk to him who were like, look, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel with these strategic reserves.
Lowest it's ever been.
We're getting to the end of what we can, trick the markets into thinking. And so there is a, imminent economic calamity he's probably concerned about too.
Also, I'm losing my mind every time he mentions the Venezuela thing like it's a success. And you have people in the media who will casually mention it like it's a success.
Yeah.
You mean we kidnapped a sovereign leader, stole their gold and stole their oil, and now Trump took the money from the oil sale and put it in a private bank account in Qatar where he has hundreds of millions of dollars. And we're describing this like it's a success? No, it is rank imperialism. Right?
It's just that.
And you're saying this to Iran. Oh yeah, we're going to do that in Iran too. Like, they are, for sure, they ain't going to allow that shit to happen. Not a fucking chance.
Yeah.
So it is incredibly, incredibly disturbing stuff. Show everybody the stuff he said on Fox and Friends.
So we went on Fox and Friends right after he posted this to lie social, as you guys call it. They're dying, and he said that the Iranians are dying to make a deal. They want to make a deal so badly. We dropped $250 million of bombs on them last night. They're really in submission. They just don't know it yet. So claiming, they're so desperate, they're dying to make a deal, they're begging me. And he had claimed too that he had spoken directly to them. The Iranians were immediately like, that's not true. So
part of submission is that you're submitting. There's no such thing as I'm submitting, but I don't know that I'm submitting. That's not a thing,
Yeah, no.
Like submission is like, oh, I'm tapping out. You're
really
tapping out.
In submission, they just
don't know it. Like what? And by the way, I think I read the number on the show the other day. I think it's 37 times Trump has claimed that we won the war already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Give us because there's another quote on Fox and Friends which is insanity.
He also said, behind the scenes, I must tell you, Iran can't believe the press that they get. They can't even believe it. And they told me, they said, it's amazing how well we're doing in the papers. We're not doing so well. They're negotiating with us to make a deal.
That is one of the most shameless lies I've ever heard. Like, not only, Iran is not even talking to him, right? That's point number one.
Yeah.
Point number two is, you are claiming that Iran said to you, oh, this coverage that we're getting is very positive in the U.S. press.
You really defeated us, but the U.S. press is saying we did great. Isn't that crazy?
I don't know why more people are not, truly, fundamentally freaking out in this moment, because obviously this guy is both a pathological liar, but, his brain is so cooked that it doesn't even occur to him that this is not a believable lie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. So we've also got this from Iran Observer, breaking: Iran plans to target Elon Musk's SpaceX and Starlink facilities across the Middle East as the U.S. military relies on them. That's from Fars News, which is one of the Iranian, state media organs. So
Godspeed. Fuck
We need to get
Elon Musk,
that
bro.
sign that whoever it was had in their yard in Maine.
I stand with Iran. Yo, Maine Democrats do not fuck around. You saw that, I'm sure you talked about that poll that was like, so what if I told you Graham Platner did commit sexual assault and said he would want to rape people? They were like, I supported me more than...
Yeah, like I was on the fence.
What
now I support him.
So they're just flat out lying about the scandal, by the way. Just
Yeah.
lying about it, but Maine voters were like, I think it's because they knew they were lying. That's why Maine voters reacted like that. That's my theory. That they're like, I know
Yeah.
the scandal and you're lying about the scandal, so yes, I would support him.
It may have just been a fake poll all around because the people who were behind it seemed sort of sketchy.
Yeah, they replied to you on Twitter.
I know.
Which is not a good sign.
No, exactly. Yeah, because I was like, oh, so you mean they lied? And they're like, it's not a lie. I'm like, no, it literally is. Like, no one has accused. There is no accusation of sexual assault against him.
Yeah.
But they said
were like,
multiple women had accused him of sexual assault.
well, what they said to you was like, oh, we're trying to phrase it like the Republicans are going to phrase it. And it's like, but no polling agency does that. That's not a thing polling agencies do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're right that the Republicans will just
They're gonna lie. Yeah, they lie about everything.
Yeah.
Of course. But we know that now. Everybody knows that, especially Maine Democrats. If you have a fucking I stand with Iran lawn sign up, then like you know that Republicans lie about everything. You know.
Yes.
And you're on Iran's side. In the war.
Yeah. I want to know, was that handmade? Did they purchase this somewhere?
It looked legit, bro. That shit looked legit as fuck.
I want more info. Maybe it was AI. Who knows? Nothing's real. But
well, anyway, I hope it's real.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. There's definitely some Maine Democrat that like loves guns, loves their trans kid, and stands with Iran. It's a real archetype.
And Iran flag in the bio.
Yes,
for sure.
And AR-15 picture, like you're holding an AR-15. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're pretty much just describing Graham at this point.
True. But do you think they're actually going to try to take Carg Island? Are they that insane? Because I don't see. Here's the thing.
I actually don't. Sagar thinks it's more likely.
Yeah, because
than I do. But I just think Trump seems very, very fearful of doing anything more significant than what we've done.
I think he's fearful now of doing nothing, knowing that we're about to be cooked when it comes to oil and gas, and we're about to have legit shortages.
Yeah, but the other thing that he said in this Fox and Friends interview is he was like, we may take Carg Island, but I'm not sure the American people have the stomach for it. We should probably do it, but I'm not sure they have the stomach for it. And to me, that was like an out of like, I don't know. Because who knows? I think anything's possible. It's also possible that this latest round of bombing was some sort of like shaping operations to prepare for some sort of ground invasion, like what this would entail. But it seems to me like he is really afraid of doing something of a different sort than what's already been done.
Now, if he tries to agree to some of the Iranian terms, right? Like, oh, okay, pay some reparations, close down the fucking bases around you, stop Israel from doing what they're doing in Lebanon. Like, even if he agrees to those things, do you think we would actually follow through? Because that's my fear, is like, even if he wants to taco out of this bitch, the machinery of empire won't even let him do it. Both with Netanyahu continuing to attack Lebanon and saying fuck off, but also the Pentagon being like, sorry, we're not giving up, hegemony and control of the fucking seas, letting Iran, like, there's no way the Pentagon's gonna be like, yeah, Iran, go ahead and tax people to use the Strait of Hormuz. They're not gonna agree to that, but they kind of have to agree to that, so like we're at a stalemate here,
Yeah. The Iranian perspective, as articulated by Professor Morandi, is basically like, we need to make this so painful that no American president ever thinks that this is a good idea.
And I think that's the correct way to approach it.
Yeah. So they definitely don't like trust that the U.S. is going to make good on any of their commitments.
Right.
What they trust is in the level of deterrence that they've established because of how easily they were able to take control of the Strait of Hormuz and how difficult and what a price the U.S. has paid in terms of global positioning over this. That's what they sort of are trusting in. And also, when we say like, oh, they might be close to a deal, we're not actually talking about a deal that has like, okay, here's what we're going to do on the nuclear front and here's what we're doing with the Strait of Hormuz. What has been contemplating is a memo of understanding that would create a 60-day negotiation period to potentially reach some sort of an agreement on all of those pieces. So what's going to happen in those 60 days? Israel is going to do everything they can, and the neocons are going to be in Trump's ear all that they can to make sure that there is no ultimate deal. So let's say that Trump with the Cargill and stuff, that it's all bluster and he's just trying to like posture for the American public like he's a tough guy and he's forcing them to the table. Let's say we do get some sort of a, okay, we've got 60 days to work this out. It doesn't mean that this is over, because the deal that Trump would have to accept from Iran is effectively
Total surrender.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Which
in a
he
way,
should do,
it really
by
is
the way.
signing the death warrant for American empire and, you know, the end of his presidency and all of those things. But continuing the war is also effectively those things too,
Right.
which is why he's floating things like, oh, maybe we should nuke them, because he's so trapped and so desperate because of the, you know, insanity of the position he put himself in.
And this is why you don't elect people like him, you know?
Yeah.
Very simply put.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's what we got for you. We'll see you later.
All right, so this is crazy. Our media is soft as Charmin, and so you don't often see real reporters ask real questions and actually put these politicians on the spot, but that's exactly what happened here with Zeteo and Prem Thakur. He chased down a whole bunch of politicians here and asked them a very straightforward question about the fact that our tax money and our weapons went to illegally bomb a little girls' school in Iran and massacred, I think it's 168 little girls. Mainstream media is not asking about this. They've already forgotten about this. Out of sight, out of mind, whatever. It was a while ago. Get over it. Now, if somebody did that to us, we'd never shut the fuck up about it. It would be a never forget thing, just like 9/11, of course. But since we did it to somebody else, it's whatever. So look at the reaction of so many of these politicians. Some of them don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Some of them run away. But ultimately, the takeaway you have here is they don't give a shit. They don't care. Here we go.
100 schoolgirls that would have killed Congressman. Are you proud of that too? 100 schoolgirls? It's been 100 days since the U.S. allegedly bombed a girls' school in Iran, killing more than 150 people, including over 100 kids. I want to emphasize, on the first day of the so-called liberating U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, the Trump administration likely killed more than 100 little kids. We went around Capitol Hill asking members of Congress what they're doing in response to what may be one of the most horrific war crimes in modern U.S. history. Here's what they told us. It's been nearly 100 days since the Manab school strike in Iran that killed over 100 schoolgirls. What is Congress doing in response?
Have a nice day.
No answers on the Manab school strike, sir? 100 schoolgirls killed by...
Terrorist regime. That's a terrorist regime.
I don't know how this disgusting man sleeps at night. Somebody go check his basement. Make sure he doesn't have toddlers tied up down there, because this is such a fucking sociopathic response. It's hard for me to even wrap my mind around it. You're told specifically about the bombing of a little girls' school, and your reaction is to say, have a nice day, and then to say, Iran's a terrorist regime. What the fuck does that have to do with what you were asked? It's got nothing to do with it. That is a total non sequitur, and you know it's a non sequitur. These people aren't even just amoral in the sense that they have no morality. They are literally immoral. This is why I call the Republican Party a fascist, terrorist, imperialist death cult. They're immoral. Like, they actively are evil. They want bad things for people they don't like. That's what it is. And that's what we're witnessing here.
And I'm glad that the United States is finally acting in a way in the national security interest of the United States. And
Jesus Christ. Could you imagine? Iran killed 168 American schoolgirls, and then you ask an Iranian official, and they dodge it, and then they go, oh, I'm happy we finally took on the terrorist regime. It's about time we took on that terrorist regime. They had it coming. What would our reaction be? We would accuse them of being the most fucking dense, disgusting, atrocious kinds of people. But we do it to them, nobody cares.
Part of those acts is 100 schoolgirls that would have killed Congressman. Are you proud of that too? 100 schoolgirls?
I've already answered your question. Thanks so much.
Do you know what Congress is doing in response to that strike?
Haven't heard anything.
Okay. Do you know, are there plans to ask for the questions?
Oh, no, he's running. Oh, it's a Republican from Montana. He's running. Of course he's running. Of course he's running. He's got some secret gay sex to have in the bathroom. God forbid he actually try to, stop us from murdering innocent little kids overseas.
Of course, it's a big concern, killing 100 schoolgirls.
I haven't heard of the questions being asked on that.
I'm not on the committees of jurisdiction, so I'm not sure exactly what they've done. But I'm sure there's investigations and inquiries.
Does it concern you that there haven't been any answers yet to the strikes?
Well, there's an ongoing conflict.
Do you support continuing the war given that the 100 schoolgirls were killed?
I think we need to deny the Iranian regime a nuclear weapon.
You know what's crazy, man? Like, I actually don't know how a nation comes to this. I really don't. I don't understand how a nation can, like, lower itself to this level. To just have such a rampant disregard for humanity and the humanity of other people in other countries, you know? I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's got to stem from American exceptionalism, right? American supremacy. This idea that, like, we're better than everybody, we're bigger than everybody, nobody else matters, we're the only ones that matter. That's the only thing I can think of, is that these people had their brains rotted on pro-America propaganda, and they've drunk the Kool-Aid of American supremacy. And so if people outside of the imperial core don't even count as human, then that's the only way I could understand this reaction, because, like, who cares? They're not even basically human, right? That's got to be it. That's got to be it. And again, I don't know how these people live with themselves. It's so obvious. Like, this is like a Nazi mindset, you know?
By any means necessary.
Including 100 schoolgirls, Senator.
No, I didn't say that. You did.
We're supporting the State Department.
Did you ask the State Department about any answer?
His reaction was, we're supporting the State Department, when asked about 100 little schoolgirls being killed. Wow.
About the 100 schoolgirls that have been killed? No questions about 100 schoolgirls, Congressman?
Didn't this guy have a scandal? I forget. Didn't he have a scandal? He looks like he's a fucking crackhead, but doesn't he have a scandal? Put in the comment section if you remember this Chuck Edwards guy and his scandal.
Do you have any concerns that the U.S. killed 100 schoolgirls? No concerns?
Nah, he doesn't give a fuck. It's not him. It's not his family. Why would he care?
We have written all of the military community and the IC community. Yeah, we've gotten partial responses. We need more, and we need to make sure it never happens again.
The challenge right now is trying to get some
So as soon as they start asking Democrats, it gets slightly more humane.
Republicans to come and help with respect to certainly the war powers votes, certainly from investigations. They have no interest in investigating any kind of misconduct by this administration.
Do you know what Congress is doing in response to this strike?
Oh my God. First of all, this guy is like a face mash thing of every Republican senator that's ever existed, and he looks like he's 7 seconds from death. He's got that, like, beet red face, the fucking white hair, hunched over as he walks, no fucking concern about what's going on around him, just wants to get to his fucking his apartment so he can get a rent boy to come over and give him a massage and a happy ending. Like, my word, look at this. Ready? Here we go.
Do you know what Congress is doing in response to this strike?
I'm not familiar with it.
It's been 100...
Oh, come on. Oh, no. That motherfucker's barely awake. Did you say we killed 100 schoolgirls? I don't even know about that, man. Get me a rent boy from rentboy.com. Come on. Oh, no.
100 days, and some Republicans apparently still don't even know that the strike happened, while Democrats are still largely just calling for an investigation. In either case, the U.S. has likely killed more than 100 little kids, and somehow, some way, business continues as usual.
We don't give a fuck about U.S. law. We don't give a fuck about international law. We don't care about consequences. We've truly lost our way in this country, man. Like, the pretty little lies we used to tell ourselves about how we're a good empire that actually tries to help people and free people, and we care about freedom and liberty and shit like that, that is so long gone now. Everybody sees us for what we are, and they're correct to see us for what we are. We're disgusting. This is absolutely fucking disgusting. But I'm still not done, because we also have this. Midas Touch tried to talk to Rob Whitman, Republican of Virginia, and they were asking him a question about potential Social Security cuts. Mike Johnson wants to do Social Security cuts, saying, like, look, if we can hold on after the midterms, we're going to cut Social Security and cut Medicare and cut Medicaid. And so they try to ask this guy about this. Notice what happens here. He pretends like he's on the phone, but you can tell he's not on the phone because you could see his phone, and he's not on the phone. Watch this. Here we go.
Congressman, what is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
Hey, how you doing? I'm good. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Look at his screen. Look at his screen as he pretends to talk. This is so embarrassing.
In just a few minutes.
No response, sir?
I'm heading your way right now. Yeah, it's over at 416.
Congressman, what is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
Like, I would much more respect it if he was just like, I don't want to talk right now. Like, at least that's honest. Like, what is this?
Listen, I appreciate that. I've got some more efforts that I want to talk to you about. there are actually more things that we have to be working on. Yeah, I want to make sure that we're putting.
No response, sir.
Yeah, listen, thanks. I appreciate your help on this. I really do need some more of your input. Yeah, if you can actually reach out, I'll make sure that we do more of this. Yeah, listen, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, I believe me, I understand. There's more of those things that we need to work on. Yes. Well, thanks again. Listen, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Man, he's really committed to the lying bit. Oh my days.
What is Mike Johnson's secret plan to cut Social Security?
It really is just like a place that's packed full of demons, isn't it? Like, there really is just fucking evil. Evil just emanates from this city. Like, why? Why? It's like they try to do the worst thing you could ever do every second of every day, you know? Oh, man. They run, bro. They run. They can't defend their evil, but they just run. They just run in the other direction and hope nobody notices like they're a little child.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
I know that people have largely moved on from the news cycle about ICE, and which is basically Trump's secret police, his Gestapo, his criminal organization that does his dirty work for him. But, man, some of this stuff just has to be shared here, so take a look at this. ICE announces it will no longer report deaths of recently released detainees. This comes after the deaths of recently released detainees surge to a 2-decade high. We already know that at least 40 people died in ICE custody. I think it's much more than that now, actually. We've also had thousands of people go missing, particularly from Alligator Alcatraz. Like, literally nobody knows where they are. In a modern country, kidnapped, nobody knows where they are now. Wild, wild stuff. But now they're purposely going to no longer keep stats, purposely no longer going to keep the numbers. Nah, man, this is so dark that it is at the point where, like, how do you not see this for what it is, right? So look at this. Jules Nader says, these are concentration camps, so on and so forth. I don't know how you can come to any other conclusions. I mean, shit, we covered, was it Migrant Insider, I believe, released an article saying, you know, that big plan to get all these giant warehouses and turn them into ICE concentration camps? Well, in all the concentration camps, they were putting in medical-grade incinerators. Incinerators. Don't tell me I can't bring up the historical parallels when the historical parallels are like slapping us across the face. How about this one? Senate Republicans vote to stop all investigations into ICE civil rights abuses. Oh my word. Stop and think about it, man. Alex Preddy, Renee Nicole Good, murdered in cold blood. Their fucking killers are still not only out there, they're still working. They're still on the job doing ICE shit. Imagine killing somebody on camera and then just getting away with it. The investigation got fucking snuffed out and like nobody talks about it anymore. It is insane what we're witnessing here. It's insane. And so now they're stopping all the investigations. Well, like I told you, man, ICE is doing human traffickings. More on that in a minute, by the way. Abductions, mass kidnappings. They're destroying due process. They're supposed to have warrants. They don't even use warrants, right? Now, theoretically, they supposedly have gone back on that. But I don't know. I haven't seen any detailed reporting and see if they're actually abiding by that. But we're talking about a group that's been accused of doing slavery at their concentration camps. You have literal criminals joining ICE. You have the tear gassing of toddlers and senior citizens and peaceful protesters. You have, deporting a 4-year-old American girl with cancer. Like, every horror story you can think of is something they did. They allegedly lynched a guy. And now, no more investigations. Well, I mean, you're just giving them a green light to act with impunity. And when you do that, do not be surprised when the most atrocious stuff you could fathom continues to happen, right? Like, for example, sexual assaults, rapes, as we've seen, right? This is what's been going on. And Republicans are bending over backwards to make sure they can get away with all of it. That's what this is. But I got to show you this also. So this came out, this was back in February, I believe. An ICE agent was literally busted for sex trafficking. You can't make this up. Look at this.
Mr. Rashad Johnson, out of Maple Grove. This is the most disturbing arrest that we've had here. He is a backgrounder for ICE, Homeland Security, and federal agencies. So when you're getting your security clearance, this is one of the guys that does your backgrounds, which is kind of scary. So we locked him up. And I think if you're going to be, these people get access, they get a high security clearance, right? Because again, for all the ICE agents, Homeland Security agents, and people getting security clearance, this is one of the people that does the backgrounds. And you come here trying to purchase sex. We locked him up. I don't think he's going to be passing a background check no time soon.
People reported on this at the time. Minnesota man who did background checks for ICE gets arrested in prostitution, saying, quote, most disturbing arrest we've had. The whole thing is just a front for criminality. The whole thing is just a fucking front for criminality. And people are still out there pretending like it's not. So when somebody like Graham Platner comes along and says, we got to abolish ICE, people go, oh, how dare you? That's law enforcement. It's not fucking law enforcement. That's what you got to get through your head. It's not law enforcement. It's not even close. The track record is that of criminality. The track record of that is destroying any semblance of law we have left in this country. It's an extrajudicial group. And so it's time to wake up, man. I don't know how else to get it through to you. It's time to wake up. This is not normal. This situation is not normal. And we have gone far above and beyond what anybody even thought was possible, even given how horrible Trump is. But the worst case scenario, this is worse than the worst case scenario. And they're still running around out there as if they're not the worst criminals in the world.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Republicans are very, very desperate to take down James Talarico in Texas. The fact of the matter is they picked the worst possible candidate they could on their side. They got rid of Cornyn, who's like a standard MAGA Republican, but a career politician. He's been in Washington for a long time. They replaced him with this guy, Ken Paxton, who is the second most corrupt politician in America, the most corrupt being, of course, Donald Trump. But this is a guy who was impeached by his own party. This is a guy who was caught red-handed doing bribery. He had all sorts of corruption scandals. He's been freeing pedophiles. I kid you not. As Attorney General of Texas, he bragged about stealing the election for Trump and getting 2.5 million mail-in ballots thrown out. To say this guy is extreme, it does a disservice to the word extreme. He's more extreme than extreme. And so they're desperate to take down Talarico. All they've had is like culture war slop bullshit. That's all they've had to go after him. And you get the sense it's desperate. It's sort of failing miserably. Well, now people are outraged because a pro-Trump group ran an AI deepfake ad of Talarico, basically trying to emasculate him. So here we go. Look at this.
Boys in white dresses with blue satin sashes, girls dust with hormones till they grow mustaches, changing the gender of all your offspring. These are a few of my favorite things.
What the fuck is wrong with Republicans? I'll tell you what's wrong with them. They know they can't talk about wages. They know they can't talk about corruption. They know they can't talk about war. They know they can't talk about inflation or unemployment. They know that they're shit out of luck when it comes to any actual substantive policy issues that affect people in their regular life, right? Kitchen table issues, as they call them. They know that. So what do? I don't know, just show him singing a fucking made-up song about trans people and how he wants to make the kids trans or whatever the fuck. It's so embarrassing, bro. This is so embarrassing. But they're running with it. And in Texas, what kind of an effect will it have? Who knows? Now, by the way, they go on to point out in this article, they're like, oh yeah, they asked Talarico, and he's like, he doesn't support, gender-affirming surgery for kids. He's okay with kids getting other forms of gender-affirming care, but not surgery, right? Doesn't matter. They still run with this anyway. They still run with this anyway. It is incredibly disturbing stuff, but I'm still not done, though, because Ted Cruz goes on Fox News, and he, of all people, goes after Talarico's masculinity. Here we go.
I gotta say, if you were making a list of 1,000 adjectives to describe this guy, masculine would not be one of them. I mean, this guy, if a stiff breeze came by, it would blow him over like a feather. This is also a guy who his campaign, he ran a vegan no meat campaign because meat is destroying the world. He's opposed to oil and gas.
He's not masculine because he's opposed to oil and gas. The masculine thing is to destroy the world through climate change and make it an unlivable planet. The feminine thing is to not destroy the planet and make it livable. First of all, bro, I don't know if you know this, you're Ted Cruz. Since you're Ted Cruz, you can do me a favor and go to Shut the Fuck Upsville, because Donald Trump unmanned you in 2016, you bitch. Remember when Trump came out and said, he posted something that was basically like, Ted Cruz's wife is unfuckable. I wouldn't touch Ted Cruz's wife with somebody else's dick. I wouldn't spill the beans, I think it said, about her. Basically saying, Melania's hot, Ted Cruz's wife is unfuckable. What did Ted Cruz do? He went out there and said, Donald, you sniveling little bastard, you keep Heidi's name out of your mouth, mister. I'll punch you in the patootie, sir. So he goes out there, does the tough guy, I'm standing up for my wife, bro. I'm standing up for my wife, bro. Cut to, at the RNC, he goes out there and says, vote your conscience, which is viewed as a snub of Trump, and him saying, vote third party if you want to vote third party. The donors call him, and they go, hey, Ted, know your role and shut your mouth, bitch. You better fall in line and support Donald Trump, or we'll pull our funding from you. The billionaires will pull our funding from you. What does he do? He goes out there and takes a sad picture, phone banking for Trump with his little weasel face. I'm Ted Cruz, me. I'm Ted Cruz, me. Hi, yeah, I know that Trump just unmanned me and said my wife is unfuckable and cucked me, but you should go out there and vote for Donald Trump. You can't tell anybody anything about masculinity, bro. You can't tell. And when your state was under duress with a winter storm about to wipe out your motherfucking power grid, you hightailed it to Cancun with your little fucking potbelly hanging out over your golf shirt with your mask on, running to the plane, trying to get to Cancun so you can lay on a beach, you bitch. Fuck you. You're the right-wing idea. You know what's masculine to me? Looking after your community. That's masculine. It's a masculine characteristic to actually care about other people, to try to get people healthcare, get people education, get people higher wages, get people vacation time, actually look out for other people's interests. You know, by that logic, left-wing politics actually have masculine values. The man being the provider, right? The traditional idea of the man being the provider. Like, I want to look out for everybody around me. Whereas right-wing values are what? Fucking pedophilia? Rape? Sucking off Israel, which is all you do, by the way. I mean, he's chief Netanyahu dick sucker. Like, what are right-wing values? Selfishness, greed, manipulation, lies. Seriously, what are right-wing values? Endless war, cutting taxes for the billionaires. Like, spare me with your utter fucking nonsense. All right, let's see some of the replies here, because I'm sure this gets good. This is Republican politics. No solutions, just childish nonsense that helps no one. This is the same dude that endorsed the guy who called his wife ugly. A hopeful Ted Cruz picture on the occasion of his conversion therapy graduation day when he gifted a signed copy of Masculinity-ish for Dummies from class valedictorian Lindsay. Those are just my ladybugs, Graham. So yes, this man right here is lecturing James Talarico about masculinity. This guy right here. Yeah, Ted Cruz is who people think of when they picture masculinity. Yeah, he looks like a fucking blobfish. You know the picture of the blobfish that's gone viral online? He looks like a blobfish, and he's lecturing people about masculinity. Famously masculine Ted Cruz concedes he is owned and indeed has an ugly wife. Look at this picture. Apparently Ted Cruz doesn't own a mirror, neither does that Hannity guy. I think Ted is just mad because he doesn't float. I love the most unfuckable cuck on earth determining what a man is. Republican men like Ted Cruz are why we choose the bear. Gross. You think you are masculine? We in Texas remember your love of porn. To be fair, I would categorize that as very masculine. And your cowardice when Trump called you your wife ugly. You're so unattractive. Sickening, really. The opposite of Talarico. Signed, your constituent. If you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody would convict you, Lindsey Graham. No, are these real, these quotes? I mean, I know they all hate him, but have they said shit like that? I've met Ted Cruz. I wouldn't use the word masculine to describe him either. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever used masculine to describe a person. I'll leave that to Lindsey Graham. It's not my rodeo. Ted Cruz enthusiastically endorses Trump, the guy who called his wife ugly. Nothing is more masculine than leaving millions of Texans freezing while Ted Cruz ran away to Cancun, like I said. Anyway, this goes on here. I think they actually have the... Oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Look at this. See this picture here of Cruz on the phone? That's after Trump mocked him and his wife, and he went and he fucking phone banked for him. And that's the picture of him phone banking for Trump. What a fucking embarrassment. And then this is the post Trump made about Ted's wife. No need to spill the beans. The images are worth 1,000 words. In other words, your wife is so ugly, I could never nut thinking of your wife, bro, but look at my hot wife. This is what Trump posted in March 23rd, 2016. This is the man who you sold your motherfucking soul for, you little bitch. Who's the real man in the race? James Talarico. He is. Who's the real Christian in the race? James Talarico. Because you know what James Talarico does? He goes out there and says, I actually believe in the philosophy of Jesus, and I want to spread that philosophy and that ideology to look out for the downtrodden, the sick, the poor, the disrespected and left behind by society. That's who I'm looking after. Who's Ted Cruz looking after? The criminal Israeli government, the billionaires, right? Donald Trump, MAGA fascists and warmongers. That's who he's looking out for. I still got this too. Talarico is so preferable to the wanton criminal Ken Paxton that Ken Paxton's lawyer came out and endorsed Talarico. You can't make this up. This guy saw Ken Paxton up close, and he goes, oh my word, never in a million years. I got to endorse against this guy. Listen.
I think what people are hungry for is a campaign that's going to bring us together.
And that is exactly why I am supporting you. As you know, I defended Ken Paxton for years in the impeachment trial and in state criminal cases. But in my view, respectfully, I think Ken has lost sight of his core mission.
I would bet a lot of money that Ken Paxton stiffed this guy and didn't pay him. I bet he's got Trump syndrome where he has somebody do something for him and never pays him, and then that guy becomes an enemy.
Which is to represent the people of Texas. And unlike Ken, I believe to my core, James, that you believe in unity over division, and that you know how to assemble not only Democrats, but independents and Republicans. And we need that right now. We need it more than in my lifetime, and I'm old as dirt. But we need unity. We don't need any more division, and that's why I'm supporting you.
Ken Paxton's own lawyer endorsing James Talarico. Make of that whatever you will.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
So Nick Fuentes explained here how Donald Trump is completely and utterly fucked. How he basically boxed himself into a corner, and now there's absolutely no way out. And look, it's one thing for me to say this. Of course I say stuff like this, but it's another thing when it's coming from other right-wingers. So listen to what he says here. He breaks it down with a lot of detail. Let's get it.
And here are the deadlines that are coming down the wire. At the end of October, there has to be a new election in Israel. And whether Netanyahu wins, and it will surely happen before October, but that's the latest that it will happen. For Netanyahu to stay in office, he needs the war to keep going. And what's more, he probably needs to win. You also have the midterm elections coming up. And so this puts pressure in two ways. We need the oil to open back up, but also one way to win the midterms is with a victory in Iran. I mean, that would be a good way to make it all worth it, is if we just simply win the war. But you also have this timeline of this energy shortage. It's not going to be long, 1, 2, 3 months before we actually start to have to ration energy supplies. The reserves are running low. Strategic petroleum reserve is at the lowest level it's been in 45 years. And eventually, that oil, which has offset the shortages, is going to make prices go way up on the global market, which is going to make prices go up over here.
I feel like a lot of people don't know this. They're not aware of this. They don't know that we're blowing through our strategic reserves, and that's the only reason why gas is under $5 a gallon, right? That as soon as we're done with that, I don't know how many more tricks we have up our sleeve to try to make it so that we don't have a fucking massive crisis. I've read a number of times that this oil crisis, this energy shock, is actually worse than the one that happened in the 1970s. And the one that happened in the 1970s led to genuine shortages, and it led to rationing to the point where you could only get gas on certain days if your license plate ends in an odd number, and on other days if it ends in an even number. And if this one is worse than that one, then you have to wonder well, why aren't we doing that yet? And this is the answer, because of the strategic reserves, which we're still blowing through. But Trump is so he's so incompetent and he's so stupid that, like, I don't even think he gets it. That, oh, no, like, this is gonna, soon as we're done with that, if the Strait of Hormuz isn't open and there's not an actual deal, we're fucked. Like, we're fucked.
None of this can last much longer. What I mean by that is Netanyahu doesn't have time. Trump doesn't have time. The economy doesn't have time. So something is going to have to give here. And Israel and the United States are at odds right now. Netanyahu needs the war to keep going to win re-election. Trump needs the war to stop to win re-election. Trump is trying to get some kind of deal. Netanyahu needs regime change, needs the war to keep going, and most likely would prefer regime change. And so what I think is ultimately going to happen is, as I've been saying, you're either going to get a big surprise where Trump is going to be able to hold Israel back, stop them from provoking Iran. We're going to have to come down from some of our red lines and really make really big concessions to Iran in order to make a deal and leave. And there's going to be no saving face. We're going to have to spin it and we'll have a deal. And they're not going to go back to normal right away. Or, and I think this is more likely, we're going to go back to war.
That's already what's happened.
When I think you think about everything that's going on here, all these conditions, think about the past couple of weeks. Even when the United States and Iran are close to making a deal, what does Israel do? They sabotage it. But even the deal itself is impossible. We don't agree on anything. Iran says, in order for us to have a deal, we need reparations. Trump said on Sunday, you're not getting reparations, forget it. Iran says for us to make a deal, we need sanctions relief. Trump says no sanctions relief. Iran says for us to make a deal, we need a ceasefire in Lebanon. Trump said yesterday, that's not a part of it. We will not compel Israel to make a ceasefire. Iran says we will never give up enrichment. It's our sacred right. We've never agreed to giving any of it up or even imposing restrictions on it. Trump says that's all we'll accept is zero enrichment, and you're going to give us the highly enriched uranium.
Irreconcilable differences. Irreconcilable differences. And what's weird is Trump at times said to them, like, I agree to all of it. And then as soon as they're like, okay, Trump turns around and goes, I don't actually agree to any of that. And it's like, well, what the fuck is going on here then? And to be fair, I don't even think if Trump wanted to agree to that, I don't think the machinery of empire would allow him to agree with that. I don't think Netanyahu would allow him to agree to that. I don't think the Pentagon would allow him to agree to that. Okay, even if he tries to do the right thing, which is just like, okay, you win, Iran, I don't think they'd let him do it. So we're at this little place called Fucksville. That's where we are. All right, but he's not done yet. He continues here. Listen to this.
Yemen, or the Houthi rebels in control of northern Yemen, have said, now we're going to blockade all Red Sea shipping that is going to Israel. We're going to strike any commercial vessel that is headed to Israel. What is the significance of this? Well, let's think about what's happening in the Persian Gulf. All of the oil in the Middle East is really in the Persian Gulf. It's in the water, it's on the coast of those countries. Iran, Kuwait, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, the Emirates. That oil is all harvested in the Persian Gulf, and then it goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Well, the Strait of Hormuz is currently closed, as you know. And so what that means is a significant portion, not just of energy, but of all shipping for all these countries is shut down. It's not just oil, but it's also liquefied natural gas. It's also aluminum. It's also a lot of other things, fertilizer. It's all of Iran's commercial shipping. It's a lot of these other countries' commercial shipping. What are the other waterways in the Middle East? Well, Saudi Arabia and these other countries have now turned to the Red Sea, which is on the opposite side of the map. Saudi Arabia built a pipeline called the East-West Pipeline, and they're taking the oil in the Persian Gulf and they're piping it from east to west so that it can be exported in the Red Sea on their western coast. And so for the first time since the war started, this pipeline is now at maximum volume. They're pumping 100% of that pipeline's capacity out the Red Sea, and this is going to prop up the oil market. So at least the global energy market is getting some of the Persian Gulf oil. A lot of it is stuck in the Persian Gulf just because that's where all the infrastructure is. The infrastructure was built to export all that oil through the Persian Gulf. But lately, these countries have been hedging their bets because they've been anticipating this conflict by building some infrastructure to get some of the supply out the other way. Well, now that the Houthis are targeting shipping in the Red Sea, what is that going to do? They say we're only targeting Israeli shipping, but that doesn't really matter. All the Houthis have to do is start launching drones and missiles. And what is going to happen is that insurance premiums that insure the cargo on all ships that go through the Red Sea is going to skyrocket. It's going to be the same problem in the Persian Gulf. It will be cost prohibitive to ship through the Suez, Red Sea, and Bab el-Mandeb. And so all the commercial shipping that goes through the Red Sea will have to be rerouted around Africa. And so if commercial shipping was going to go through that shortcut, let's say from Europe to Asia, now it's going to have to go all the way around Africa. And it doesn't matter if the Houthis are only targeting Israeli ships. If projectiles are flying, if even one ship gets hit, insurance goes up, everybody is risk averse, costs go up, they're not going to go through the Red Sea, they're going to go the other way. And what this does is it increases transportation costs for everything.
Trump is claiming that, oh, we did this secret mission where, like, we actually got a whole bunch of these ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and so, like, the oil market's actually doing great, bro. I think this is part of a psyop yet again to try to calm the oil markets and make it so that, you know, prices don't skyrocket further. And this is their plan to do it, is to just lie again about, oh, yeah, we got ships going through the Strait of Hormuz and stuff, bro. That's what I think is going on. But what he's describing here is Trump just actually made it worse, just exacerbated the energy crisis. Because now not only is the Strait of Hormuz shut, but now the Houthis in Yemen are getting involved and they're shutting down other potential routes, right? Which makes it so you have even less oil on the market. Okay, that now you're talking total and utter catastrophe. You're talking economic collapse. You're talking about a man who's completely and utterly cornered and there's no way out. All right, he's still not done.
Who can destroy the Republican Party? The Democrats. The Democrats can, because they have money. So we talked earlier about this fulcrum. Republicans and Democrats have colluded together to create a cartel situation where it's a very delicate balance of power between them. And it makes it so that no one side can ever really win. No one side can ever really implement meaningful change. No one side can actually do anything meaningful. Let's use it to our advantage. We don't have enough power to gut this half of the Republican Party, this half of the country. We do have enough power to tilt the scales in the other direction. You see, we don't have enough juice to overcome half the country, which is Republican. We do have enough juice to tilt it ever so slightly on this delicate fulcrum and give the advantage to the Democrats. And what the Democrats will do with all their money and infrastructure, which is already right there, we just need to give them a little bit, is they will impeach Trump, they will impeach Pete Hegseth, they will impeach Vance, they will subpoena the government, and what they will find, I'm going to predict the future again, clip it, when the Democrats take the House and gain oversight powers, and when they impeach not only Trump but other government personnel, and when they subpoena and depose all these current and former government officials, they're going to find corruption.
This is almost Nick Fuentes showing more hope in the Democratic Party than me. He seems very convinced that if the Democrats take back power, it's a foregone conclusion that Trump is going to be impeached. I hope that's right. I hope that's right. Do I know for sure? No, I do not know for sure. I also love this idea, like, they're going to find corruption. We've already found all the corruption. I've never seen anybody as corrupt as Donald Trump. There are so many different kinds of corruption he's engaged in, I quite literally have lost count of the different kinds of corruption he's engaged in. It is earth-shattering and mind-boggling, so there's nothing else to uncover. And if there is, you just add it to the giant list of things that, like, are so numerous that it drives people crazy because they can't focus on all of it at the same time. So I don't know. He's almost a little too hopeful in my estimation, but he continues.
They're going to find legitimate corruption. It's going to be tangible. It's going to be real. It's going to be aired wall to wall, 24/7. It's going to become a major distraction. It's going to be so bad it's even going to hurt Trump with his own supporters.
That already is the case. They talked about the $1.776 billion fucking slush fund. The Trump was forced to back off of it, but he's still going to try another way of getting money to his fucking January 6th terrorists. It already happened, but he just still plugs along, as always.
His favorability and approval will fall to new lows. He will not be able to implement his agenda because the Democrats will threaten a shutdown with control of the House, and Trump will become the most unpopular president since Nixon.
He already kind of is that, right?
He may resign. I don't think that he will, but he might. And what this will do is it will hurt the Republican brand so badly that in 2028, there will be a power vacuum for outsiders to challenge. And by that, I mean the Republican Party will be such a failure, Republican brand so toxic, that nobody from inside of it will be able to win the nomination, or they'll have a very difficult time doing it. There will be an appetite among Republicans for someone that was not a part of this train wreck. They will say, Trump sucks, war with Iran, corruption, failure on all fronts. We need a different kind of Republican to come in. That's when we destroy the GOP.
This is such cope. This part is such cope. No, if the Republican Party falls apart, as it is falling apart, to be fair, and 2028 comes along, 2028 would be the culmination of the party falling apart. It wouldn't be like, oh, at that point, us Groyper outsiders will come in and take over the party and then we'll beat the Democrats in 2028. No, any Republican is barbecue chicken for 2028. It is over. It is done. It is finito in this bitch. So I mean, honestly, if Trump actually destroys the Republican brand as he is, as thoroughly as I think he is, and clearly as Nick Fuentes thinks he is, then you're cooked in 2028. You may even be cooked in 2032, right? Like, you would need, y'all motherfuckers need a page one rewrite. And in Nick's mind, like, he's like, oh, no, we got to get more white nationalist, right? But mix that in with being actually anti-corruption and actually anti-war. But I got bad news for you. The whole white nationalist thing is not going to land. Nobody actually wants that, bro. Look at what happened with ICE. Everybody fucking hates ICE. And ICE is implementing the white nationalist shit, right? Like, nobody likes them. So it's not like, oh, this whole different vision. No, it's actually not that different from Trumpism. It's actually very similar to Trumpism, and it would fucking faceplant. So that part is definitely cope in my estimation. But at the same time, he's correct about Trump is tarnishing the Republican brand. He's ruining it for probably at least 8 years. But the idea of like an outsider, Groyper type coming in, not going to fucking happen. Americans are not yearning for white nationalism like you think they are. You know what they're yearning for? Medicare for all, free college, a living wage, ending the wars. That's what they're yearning for. Unions, more paid vacation time, daycare, things of that nature. That's what they want. Or taxing the rich and arresting the fucking Epstein class criminals, the pedophiles. That's what people want. It's actually not rocket science. So, but look, he broke it down in the sense that the Republican Party's falling apart. Trump's falling apart. They're going to go into the wilderness for a long time. And I think that's already a done deal, right? The question is, what do they look like when they come back? My estimation is it's going to be just as bad, if not worse, than Trumpism. Like, they've only gotten, my entire life, the Republicans have only gotten worse. I don't think that trend is going to change.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
All right, so this clip right here is crazy, y'all. This one is crazy. So you have a former Trump advisor, Caroline Sunshine, which, by the way, awesome name. She apparently is now anti-MAGA, and she humiliated this MAGA commentator who's defending Trump's insanity with the Iran war. Watch this. This is like a surgical dismantling of these dishonest talking points. Here we go.
He wants to end this the way he wants to end it and not the way Netanyahu wants to end it.
But he did say no new wars. Over and over.
But he didn't start this one. People say he started it. Look, Iran's been at war with us for a long time, and he did take out Salman.
Iran's been at war with us. How many U.S. citizens has Iran killed on U.S. soil in their 47 years?
How many soldiers have they killed?
And why were our soldiers in the Middle East to begin with?
Okay.
How many Americans have they killed on U.S. soil?
So that's allowed? They're allowed to kill soldiers in the Middle East?
Hold on. No. How many, for the people who chant death to America for 47 years, how many U.S. citizens have they killed on U.S. soil?
Okay.
How many on U.S. soil, Hal?
So that's all
that counts? It's an easy answer. You should know it. Or is it like Ted Cruz where you don't know the population of Iran?
Wow.
How many U.S. citizens have they killed on U.S. soil?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I would guess it's low.
0.
But I don't think that's the telltale test. I don't think you have to kill us on our soil. If you're killing us overseas.
Have you guys seen that meme of like the 20 U.S. military bases all surrounding Iran? And it says like, hey, who put this country near our military bases? And is pointing at Iran. It's like, that's what this guy's like, oh, how dare they attack us? We were just minding our business, surrounding them and threatening them on a regular basis. Like, bro, anybody who buys the bullshit that like, oh, Iran is the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, you're just a total fucking sucker, right? You're like a Zionist mark, an AIPAC mark, if you actually believe that and you're parroting that. People have the nerve to call Iran jihadists. When it's like, anybody who knows the first thing about this knows Iran is not jihadist. They're a Shia theocracy, which is bad in and of itself. They should be a secular democracy. That's what I want them to be, right? But a Shia theocracy is not jihadism. Jihadism is tied to, in modern times, radical Sunni Islam. It's tied to Wahhabism or Salafism is the ideology. It's not Shiism. It's not. And so they rely on people's ignorance to make these arguments. And here you have a former Trump insider smacking down a current pro-Trump commentator for trying to spread these bogus narratives.
Citizens have they killed on U.S. soil?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I would guess it's low.
0.
But I don't think that's the telltale test. I don't think you have to kill us on our soil. If you're killing us overseas, you're killing.
Why are we
you're killing
overseas
US
to begin
citizens.
with?
Are we really
Why
going
are
to go
our
into
soldiers in
global
the Middle East to
politics on
begin
why
with?
we're overseas? I don't think we have.
Are we really going to go into global politics on the Global Politics Show? Yes, you bitch.
Talking about our land. We're being talking about our
We're overseas because
why were they in the
you wanna
Middle
know
East
why?
to begin with?
Because of oil.
And point to
Because
one
of oil.
Middle
Let's
Eastern
just-
country we've
because
made.
Oh shit, he admitted. Why are we there? Because of oil. Because we're stealing everybody's oil. Now, if you attack us while we steal your shit, then bro, like, then you're fucked up, bro. No, you can't admit that part and then have the previous part of the argument stand, you dumb fuck. Oh my days.
Because of oil.
And point to
Because
one
of oil.
Middle
Let's
Eastern
just-
country we've made
because of
better by
oil.
our involvement
Because
over
of
there.
oil. We know why we're there. It's because of oil.
What do you mean because of oil?
We need to protect our interests in oil, period. We
Then
know
maybe
it.
we should open the Strait of Hormuz, which was open before this war started, and we could open right now if we just left, which is in our interest.
So you're...
Oh, she's cooking him. Oh my days.
Okay.
I think Israel has shown a remarkable...
She didn't say that, bitch. That's a whole new sentence. Oh, no. Now, the thing is, if you say that to me, I'd be like, yes, I am. Kyle, you're in favor of Iran having a nuclear weapon. That's correct. Oh, yes. I think they should have a nuclear weapon because that's the only way to guarantee that you can deter the fucking aggression of the axis of Epstein, the U.S. and Israel. We illegally and offensively attack them. In order for them to defend themselves, they have a right to defend themselves. They can put off any attacks by having a nuclear weapon. They would guarantee they wouldn't get attacked in that scenario. So yes, they should. The world would be a much more stable place if Iran actually had nuclear weapons. That's a fact that virtually nobody's going to tell you. There's a reason why we haven't gone into North Korea and started a new war there and killed thousands of people there, is because North Korea already has nukes, and so we know, shit, we can't fuck with them.
You okay?
I
You're
think
for
Israel
Iran having
has
a nuclear
shown
weapon.
a
Got it.
remarkable... Oh, Iran doesn't need a nuclear weapon now because they have learned that they don't need one. They've now learned through this war... By the way, Iran, a nuclear weapon, let me just dismantle that talking point really quick. The 18 U.S. intelligence agencies in our country...
We're back to those.
Back to those?
Well, that's what
What is
told us
that supposed to mean?
Because
Okay, I could tell she despises this guy. There's definitely some history here. He definitely tried to play grab ass or some shit, and she's like, oh, now I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to fuck you up on air, you bitch. Keep your hands off me and watch this.
Back
told
to
us
those.
that Saddam
Whose
Hussein
intel
had
do you trust?
weapons of mass destruction.
A lie?
Well, they were the 18 intelligence agencies you're about to quote. Go ahead.
That is,
Okay.
it wasn't the intel agencies, it was the politicians. No, let me be clear.
What were you going
It
to say
wasn't
about
the intel, it wasn't the intel agencies that lied about that. It was the politicians like your old friend Ted Cruz that believed those lies and got us into those wars, and it was President Trump who campaigned on being different, and that's a separate thing I'm going to get into. But the 18 U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon, and that has not changed during the course of this war. However, what has changed is that Iran has now learned they don't need a nuclear weapon because they can be...
I'm thoroughly enjoying Charles Blow and how much he's enjoying this. He's like, yeah, somebody else is doing the heavy lifting on the panel for once. I fucking love that. Look at his reaction. This is adorable.
Nuclear weapon. Because they can behave like a nuclear power without ever needing to be one. Because they can just close the Strait of Hormuz if and when they ever want. And they have learned what China has learned, which is that you're never going to beat the U.S. military militarily. You beat us economically. Let's just dismantle that.
He was literally stunned silent. He was left speechless. He had no reaction. And you know what? This is what Democrats and liberals and leftists need to learn. If you are aggressive, they will always crumble like that. Because Republican ideology is based on absolute falsehoods, okay? They can't defend their arguments. They've never been put in a position where they have to defend their arguments. If they were put in that position, this would happen all the fucking time. Period. That's it. Period. So absolutely well done there from Caroline Sunshine. Again, how is that name real? Goodness gracious. Anyway, beat his ass into the ground ski. And, this CNN show is sort of becoming a hotbed for this. Whether it's Adam Mockler, dog-walking fucking Scott Jennings closeted ass, or Jennifer Welch going on there and laying the smackdown on some dumbass Republican. I'm telling you, man, this new era, this dark woke era, this backlash to MAGA era, they're not going to know what hit them. They're not going to know what hit them because they don't understand we've been way too nice for way too long, and it's finally the time to tell them how we really fucking feel and start telling the truth. That's what we're doing now. All right, y'all. That's the show, man. Love y'all very much. As always, you know the drill. Subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. Support the show on Patreon. Sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. And go subscribe to Corin's World. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.